This sound is what we are going to create today. We're going to make some minimal techno, and that's today's video, so let's go do it right now. Yo, check it out, I'm Animal Kitchen, and thank you for checking out yet another video. Now, if this is your first time here, don't hesitate to click subscribe, hit that notification bell, because whenever I upload a new video, you'll be kept in the loop and you won't miss out on anything. And hang out to the end of this video, I'll tell you all about Patreon and Discord, I'll tell you about the Mixer project, and I'll tell you all about making music with me. On vinyl, that is. Stay tuned till the end of this video. Minimal techno, M-Plant style. Do you know Robert Hood? He was one of those characters out of Detroit. Obviously, you know the Belleville Three, Kevin Saunderson, Derek May, and Juan Atkins. They get praise for making techno music. It was Juan Atkins who read this book by Alvin Toffler about the future, about a computerized world, and that's how he envisioned his music, hence calling the music techno. So that's where the term techno came from. Then later on, the second wave of cats coming out of Detroit, one of those was Robert Hood. He makes absolutely amazing techno. Now, this type of techno is amongst the most easiest to make, but it's also amongst the most easiest to get wrong. It's coming a little bit from a hip-hop kind of background, meaning it is sample based and the drums are pretty simple, but the sounds need to be absolutely right. Now, we're going to just get into how I established that stuff on a dawless system, which means certain sounds need to be processed a little bit, certain sounds need to be just like great out of the box. Usually this channel, if you follow it, it's about melodic techno and stuff. We are not so much going to get into the melodic aspect of it, rather we're going to look at how can we get a minimalistic kind of approach, getting the sounds to sit well and make that adrenaline driven, just like, you know, choo-choo train kind of like techno. That kind of stuff, that's literally what I call light switch techno. It's either on or it's off. No big washes, no guns in their own white noises, just heads down, stick your head in the basement kind of techno. That's what it's all about. If you're ready, come and follow me and let's check out the live set. Now, for this sound, obviously you need a thick bass drum. Let's go listen to what we have. The bass drum is coming from the Octatrack on track number 1, so that plays this. And then the Octatrack and the Akai MPC Live are connected to the channel 2 on the multi-clock. So there's 4 channels here. We'll get into what they do in a second. Kick. Now, I've opted to go for a round kick. There's a few things that this kick needs to contain. Usually on this sound, what I hear is that they've got like very clear sounding kicks. Very clear sounding kicks, which means that the belly of the kick is what I call it. So the sustain level, sustain portion is thicker. The attack transient is the letter D. Listen for the duh. That's the initial sort of like sound that I would like. If I want this kick to be a little bit more, maybe muffled, what I can do is filter it down a little bit, but I opted to go with a kick that is going to stand out throughout the track that I'm going to make. There's a few things that I've got set up on the Octatrack as well. There is a step sound, there is a loop sound, because as I said, it's a kind of a loop driven kind of bass, and obviously I've got a higher BPM, so I'm going in at 133, 134 beats per minute, which is also going to come from the clock. Now, second part that we're going to look at is the rumble kick. Everybody's talking about rumble kicks and how to make them and with reverb and stuff. I opted to go with a kick on the TR-909, so that's a different kind of kick, but if you EQ or tune it differently, you can have it play rumbles. So on the 1, 5, 9 and obviously 13, which are your measures that you're listening to now on the step sequencer, any other place plays a trig for the kick, and that will sound something like this. Let me pitch it well. meaning that I can shift the MIDI. So if one machine is off beat a little bit, I can adjust it with my multi-clock over here. Now you can hear that the kick is playing every other note. Let's EQ the sound a little bit more. Listen to it. So I'm opening up the decay on, say, maybe 2 o'clock. The attack is on 12 o'clock. The tuning is almost down. That's probably going about 8 o'clock. And the level is going to be at around, say, between 9 and 10 o'clock. Yeah? So if you got a 909 or a equivalent, look for levels. But just make sure that in a ballpark figure, almost this kick needs to be 2, maybe 3 decibels softer than your initial kick. Then you get what you're listening to now. On this same pattern, I've already played a closed hat, but the kick is going in separately to the mixer, so I can have control over the mix as well if things change later on in the track. Sometimes when you perform, the levels might vary, so you need to alter them, and I don't want to be fiddling around with this knob that you can clearly hear is crackling a bit. So obviously what I will do is like have my level on track number 1. So the kick is over here, the 909 kick. Right, cool. That is working. So as I said, certain things need to be sampled, certain things need to be coming from vintage machines, and other things can be modern. So in this sense, to wrap up a little bit where the drums are going, the kick is very modern, as you can hear. Very round, sort of like gummy kind of textured kick. This will work wonders. Then the 909 kick, and then we're going to add the hat. So the stereo of the 909 is going to come out of a different channel on the mixer. Self-explanatory. Open it up a little bit of that higher decay, makes it a little bit more aggressive. So what I have on my track 3 here on the octa track, no particular order, that's just how it works out, is a top loop that will drive my beat a little bit more. Loud as hell, so I'll turn it down. And as you can hear, there is a hypnotic sort of like sound on the first measure of the sequence. And I like the sort of like down bit graded nature of this loop, because I have put on effect slot 1, I have put some distortion on there so I can exaggerate that. Degrade it a little bit. Nice. Okay. Now for this sound to move forward even, I have got an organ type of sound, because this is for that ampland kind of vibe. You have to put some, you know, some crazy organs in a rhythmical fashion. Place them on different tricks. So you got now this sound in itself sounds pretty clean. So again, I'll go to my EQ section there, or to my effect section, and I will put the lo-fi on there. So the lo-fi is engaged, same thing, distortion. And what I've done, because most of my synths, like the Minitaur over here, and the Tetra, and the SH101, and the subsequent, are all going into the octa track. And then track 8 on the octa track is now my master track, on which I have got a cutoff frequency going up. So I'm gonna lose lows if I'm going to open the crossfader, but also add some reverb to it. As you can hear, opening up the decay on my head and the kick back in. Nice one. Now obviously what you would need is more drums. So let's stop what we have right now. Let me just go over to the 909 and yeah, program a little bit more drums here. Okay, it took me a while, so now I got my drums. I've got my first pattern right here, which is this. So that's the first one, yeah? So that plays. So with my kick drum, this is nice. Okay, I'll start with that organ stab. Then you can migrate onwards with the drums on the 909 like so. Kick out here, 1, 2, 3. On with the next pattern, here we go. Back to 1. 2, 3. Different pattern, top loop. You gotta love it. Cool. As I said, it's a sound that is not hard to make, but it's easy to get wrong because you need certain sounds to do certain things. Now, obviously, I've got my 3 sounds here. The kick is here. I've got my top loop, and I've got my organ stab. For now, I think this is okay. Yeah. Let's see if we can add something coming, say, maybe from the Minitaur, maybe. Nice. That was off. SH101 is playing. Okay, so I will now see if I can accompany the music that I have already with something maybe slightly intelligent. Let's see if we can work something out. Nice, yeah, I'm gonna go for a subby bass line. Record it straight in. 1, 2, 3, and. bit more subby on the Minitaur. Yeah, nice. I'm liking that. Let's see what we can do with the 101 over here. Pitch it first. Play the sequence, and on the track number 1, which is sending out a clock signal, you can send out DIN sync as well. I'm gonna see what my sequence is going to be all about. Take it right out here. Maybe I can make it a little bit faster so that we got more of an adrenaline going, which is going to match up the sequence that we have a little bit more. Let's see. Now I'm curious. One, two, three. Go back in with the rest. Yeah, so now that we have that, I'm thinking, yeah, this is going in a certain direction. I'm only making a loop right now because the thing is, especially with the MPC, you first build the complete sort of like idea of where you're going. Then you're going to take out most of the drums and just like dilute everything and just like build it up from there. So I'm moderately enthusiastic about the SH-101, but then again, this thing sounds so awesome to me that whatever I'm going to produce is going to come out really cool. So this is a sequence that I can run with, obviously. I turn it off, clear the buffer, and load something new in, and that's how we're going to do it most of the time. Let's see if we can get another sound going, maybe from the Tetra. This means business. I think it's 2 down. 1 down then. Play what we have. Like I said, I will make a new pattern, which is basically a little bit more of a rounder pattern, so it repeats, because now I had polymetric things going on, and I want something different. Turn it on. Load. All right. You can easily see how you can migrate into different kind of styles of techno here. Obviously, if you want to make more sort of a melodic vibe, you can enter much more of a arpeggio. But I'm just trying to just keep it fairly simple. Get the sound to sound a little bit more degraded as well. You can hear there's a reverb on there that's coming from the RE20 Space Echo. So on the far left side I've got a 802 mixer, which is a Behringer mixer with one aux send on there. And that aux send is going to just like take care of the global sort of like effects that I have. Only the subsequent over here gets its own pedal, and that is the Blue Sky. Let's see what that Tetra has. Play it from here. Yeah, play something dramatic. Go in like 1, 2, 3, 4, and my second measure I'll play like this. 7, and the last bar is empty. So now we've got like an accent that constantly plays. I'm not going to just like go overly Johann Sebastian Bach on you, you know. I just want to get this sound to work. Nice. Second pattern here. Short notes, SH101. And I love the 909 drum computer for the ride cymbal. It just invokes adrenaline, makes everything go crazy, you know what I mean? That's just, I like it, man. And again, Tetra. Wow, nice. Go in and see what we can do with a sub 37. It's not that we need a lot of sounds or we have to do it, but it works to at least work your options in a way. And I love the fact that I've got multiple options. I don't necessarily have to use them all the time, but in a first pattern, I will play whatever I can think of, so that if I'm migrating into song mode, which is over here in my mind, I'm using the sequences, like, you know, now I'm on sequence number, what is it? 73, I think. Yeah, 73. Obviously, because I built it up. So I'm using 8 different sequences or patterns, if you would like, for one track. So this is the first pattern. Obviously, I'm going to copy this to 6 or something, or 7, and then dilute everything, and then the first one be a sparse one, and then I'll just build up the track. So I've got multiple options, as I do on the 909, where I've got certain patterns that are empty. Like 16 is always going to be my empty pattern. So if things go berserk and AWOL and I don't know where I am, hitting 16 would mean no drums from the 909. So I can just invoke a break there instead of having to rely on the multi-clock, which is a bit irresponsive. After a while, I've got it a while now, I think I got it a couple of years, something happens with the PCB, so obviously it will change. Meaning that the housing, due to the heat, obviously, it shifts, so the knobs will become sometimes a little bit irresponsive. That can be a thing if you want to hit your grooves in on the measure. Then again, you're playing live, so I've had it happen before that I just wanted to enter a machine in and it just didn't work, and it worked out well in the grand scheme of things. And what I love about it is that, you know, I don't like the fact that it's irresponsive at times. What I do like about it is that nothing is predictable anymore. So stuff will become a little bit more, happy little accidents, and that's what you would want. So the structure of the song is the first pattern, is the intro pattern or the transitioning pattern. So mostly this will house information coming from the previous track. If the bottom 8 is one song and the top 8 is another song, track number 8, which are here and here, obviously. Don't know if you can make it out on the camera. That's where my transition pattern is, meaning there's some information on the last pattern of each song that's going to be the intro pattern on the next song, so that the transitions are different from where a DJ just mixes two or blends two things together. Here you have to just like make a hard sort of like cut from one track to another track, but you would want to do that with information that you already reveal towards the end of your song and then migrate it into the new track, which is not what I've done right now, because I'm now only making initial patterns, and then once I'm happy with the ingredients that I have, that's when I start to spread out and span out. But for this kind of sound, which is very loop based, it's cool to just like get different ideas going within the pattern already. Now, looking at patterns is also important to note that you can have different things interact. Looking at call and response, for instance, the Dave Smith today is not playing a leading role. The Tetra, it is some sort of an atmosphere kind of vibe. The organ here plays a role together with the Minitaur bass. Those two with the bass drum could be a drop or an intro or something that would work. And then you add stuff to it. So my foundation, my ABC foundation, that would be my A. The kick drum, the Minitaur, and then that organ, that works. I mean, anyone understands what's going on right here. And then you hear that the Dave Smith is just adding something to it. But do I need it? No. I mean, I need it for the atmosphere, but I don't need it for this structure to work. So that goes. I can even lower the volume a little bit. Play that top loop on it. So I got a little bit of that train kind of vibe going I was talking about earlier. That train kind of like choo-choo migration is what I need. Now, the 909 plays a role on top of it then. So that is also a different kind of priority, but it's adding groove to my flow. That's the hi-hat here. Now this gives me an idea to say like, I can play the similar thing with the subsequent. But I would like to play something that I hear Robert Hood do a lot, and that is, lower the volume a bit, I hear him go very hypnotizing on certain things that he plays. Something like that. I mean, I can hear him do something like that, so just play those notes. 1, 2, 3, and the accent is always on the 2. So it's always on the after the measure. 1. That's actually where the accent of the whole groove is always going to be. Which means that if you play the right cymbal, it's going to really take off. But that's that. So yeah, that's what it's all about. I like it. Do you like it too? Leave a comment below in the section. Leave a comment in the section below is what I meant to say. And yeah, that's what it's all about. Basically, I've played with Robert Hood numerous times. I saw this cat perform. It's absolutely amazing. He's an inspiration. I mean, he comes from a live kind of flow. So you have to think of guys like Octave One and Robert Hood. You know, those are the kind of cats that just like make that music very rudimentary, very hands-on. They've got like gear in the studio, they'll just whiz up a loop, and that's what they do. As opposed to the Ableton route where, you know, you can overproduce and stick more samples in and stuff. So I kind of like the approach of having this one sort of like loop and just make do with what you have. Now, let me know in the comment section below, where do you like that, yes or no, what your process is, and if you're into that kind of sound. If you made it this far into the video, thanks very much. The world is slowly opening up again, even though there's a lot of stuff happening. Hopefully, I'm praying that we find some way to at least be sensible about it, you know what I mean? I mean, nobody wins, it's not cool. Anyone in the Ukraine, stay strong. Our hearts go out to you, right? Patreon, that's where my support sort of like blanket is. I've got a lot of patrons, and we're all congregate together in Discord, where we talk about synths, we're talking about modular stuff, we're talking about all kinds of aspects when you get into this dawless, say semi-dawless or whatever kind of vibe, so you can get there. Making music means that you come up with something, I can produce it, or we make some music together, whatever, we can just like make something. But the thing is, I made a really cool deal this week where we get to produce stuff on vinyl. How cool is that? So you can actually not make tunes, but you can release them on vinyl as well. We get the community to really like help us out. So it's a community-based thing here. You know what I mean? Community-based thing. We'll make some things. We'll make some samples. We'll just do that stuff together. If that's what you want, get into Patreon. That's where I'm doing it. Find the music on Bandcamp. That means that if I like what I hear, and we're not going to release it or the excerpts of it, I'll probably stick it on Bandcamp. So that's the thing as well. Yeah. There's channel memberships on this channel as well. So if you just really want to support the vibe, the flow, and help me get better content, get better equipment, you know how it works, you know what I mean? That'll be a cool thing, and I'll thank all the new subscribers out there. I mean, this channel is growing very fast, so thank ever so much. What else? Because I know I am forgetting something. Yeah, I am still working on a mixer project. I'm doing that with some of the patrons, actually. Working on a mixer project where I think that there's a gap in the market between what a club mixer is and what a DJ mixer is, and why there's no mixer catered to us dawless cats out there. So mono stereo switching, maybe some clock options, some polymetric or polyrhythmical sort of like things that you can do. There's ample stuff that we can do. We can discuss that stuff, you know. Head over to Patreon, said it before. So that's patreon.com/analogkitchen. I think that is it. I will catch you next week on another video. Analog Kitchen out!